Why Roglič demanded the race gets cancelled to officials at the Volta a Catalunya 2025. So, riders are often lauded for their Herculean endurance and stoic mindsets. A recent episode has added a twist of drama befitting a Shakespearean play. Enter Roglič, the Slovenian maestro known for his relentless pursuit of victory and, apparently, his newfound role as a meteorologist. The stage, the 2025 Volta a Catalunya. The plot, a demand to halt the race due to, all things, wind. Let's unravel what actually happened and see what went down. The prelude to the storm. The Volta a Catalunya, a race steeped in history and prestige, was underway with all the usual pomp and circumstance. Riders from across the globe had converged, each harbouring ambitions of glory. Among them was Roglič, representing Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. He was a prominent figure, one of the favourites of the race, who was trailing just behind the second place, Juan Ayuso of UAE Team Emirates. So as the peloton embarked on around stage 6, the weather gods decided to spice things up a bit. Fierce winds began to howl, transforming the racecourse into a scene reminiscent of a sailor's worst nightmare. So the organisers, perhaps sensing the brewing discontent, made the executive decision to shorten the stage from its original 159 Ks to a mere 146 Ks. Yeah, as if that would make any difference. A token of gesture that some might say was akin to offering an umbrella to somebody stuck in a hurricane storm. Roglič takes centre stage. Enter Roglič, our protagonist for today's video, who amidst the swirling chaos found his voice amplified by the gusts of wind. With the conviction of a seasoned thespian, he approached the race officials demanding, nay, imploring, that the stage be called off entirely. His argument? Well, the winds posed an unacceptable risk to the riders' safety, which, to be fair, was kind of valid when you find out how many miles per hour the gusts were actually coming in at. One can almost picture the scene. Roglič, windswept and resolute, standing before the officials, channeling the spirit of a maritime captain, refusing to set sail into a storm until the seas calmed down a bit. So the officials were perhaps taken aback by the way this went down, and they didn't really know how to react. To race or not to race, that was the question. A history of battling the elements. Cycling as a sport has a storied history of riders braving the elements with a tenacity that borders on masochism. Consider the 2015 Ghent-Wevelgem, where riders were constantly balancing on their bikes, leaning into the wind, trying not to be blown off the road. The winds were so bad that team officials called for the race to be neutralised, yet the event pressed on, leaving a trail of battered cyclists in its wake. Then there's the 1985 Tour of Flanders, a race that gained legendary status due to a severe storm unleashing cold, strong winds and torrential rain to throw in there, disseminating the peloton and testing the mettle of even the hardest riders. In more recent times, the 2018 Sibua Cycling Tour saw Stage 2 nullified after a storm engulfed the race, bringing rain, hail, thunder and lightning, reducing visibility to less than 20 metres in front. The UCI's Extreme Weather Protocol. So, what does it actually take for a race to be cancelled or called off? Well, it turns out quite a lot. And Roglič was pretty much wasting his time and making himself look a bit silly by asking the organisers to cool things off. So, in response to such meteorological mayhem, the Union Cycliste Internationale, UCI, introduced the Extreme Weather Protocol in 2016 after some pansies decided they wanted to actually call the race off, as if they weren't getting paid to do this. This protocol serves as a guideline for race organisers when faced with adverse conditions, considering factors like freezing rain, snow accumulation, and excessive strong winds, also extreme temperatures, poor visibility, and air pollution, with everything focusing on the dangers that they pose to riders. The protocol outlines possible actions ranging from modifying the start or finish venues to neutralising sections of the race or just outright cancellation, which Roglič seemed to want. The protocol's implementation, however, is not without its critics. So some people argue that it provides a convenient escape hatch for riders seeking respite from challenging conditions, while others contend that it somehow prioritizes safety in a sport already fraught with danger. Strategy or genuine concern? Roglič's impassioned plea to halt the race raises an intriguing question. Was this a genuine concern for safety, or a strategic maneuver cloaked in altruism? With the overall standings hanging by a thread, a concealed stage could possibly benefit certain riders while disadvantaging others. It's not unheard of for athletes to employ psychological tactics, using external factors to sway outcomes in their favour. Could Roglič, known for his tactical acumen, have seen an opportunity to disrupt the race dynamics to his advantage? Or was he just merely acting as the voice of reason amidst a peloton of silent sufferers on the verge of danger? The aftermath and reflections. The stage proceeded about in a truncated way, with American rider Quinn Simmons going ahead and Roglič still not quite happy of how things went. This episode serves us as a reminder, the delicate balance between the inherent risks of professional cycling and the measures taken to mitigate them. Yeah, as the winds of change continue to blow through the world of cycling, one can't help but wonder, are we witnessing the dawn of a new era where safety trumps tradition, or is this merely a passing squall in the storied saga of the sports? Only time will actually tell. Winds that make Roglič shiver. Literally. Cycling aficionados may recall that one of the key moments during any race is not just when the riders drop the hammer on each other, but also when the winds decide to get involved. Now, to be clear, winds don't need to be as insane as a tornado or the aftermath of a storm to cause problems. It's really about how consistent and gusty the winds are. When we're talking about actual gusts of wind that cause problems, let's be clear about some basic thresholds. So the 40k or 25 mile per hour range is kind of a wind you feel when walking your dog on a regular day. It's enough to mess with riders trying to keep their perfectly aerodynamic posture, maintaining a steady pace. But once the wind picks up and we're seeing speeds of 50 k's an hour or 31 miles per hour or even more, then things do start to get interesting. In that, quote, I might end up eating asphalt kind of way. For the most part, at those speeds, the winds aren't enough to blow you off the bike entirely, but they sure will make things lively. Riders will feel the burn in the legs and they'll be battling to hold their line. But then we cross into a whole other level, 70 k's an hour or 43 mile per hour gusts. Now we're talking wind speeds that can potentially cause problems, and not just in terms of blowing the cyclists around a little bit. When you get into this kind of range, you start to see problems with the riders' stability. Their bikes are already super light, and the carbon frames are designed for speed, not necessarily gust surfing. Once the winds hit the 80k an hour, 50 mile per hour mark, like the winds you might find during a gale force storm, you're entering dangerous territory, where stability becomes a real concern. These kinds of gusts could actually knock a rider sideways, and let's face it, the wind doesn't care how many grand tours you've won. A well-timed gust of wind could even send the most well-trained pro careening into the bushes. Now this is where the drama kicks in. The race organisers and the UCI aren't just sitting around twiddling their thumbs when the weather forecast calls for gale force winds. As much as cycling is about athleticism and drama, it's also about safety, hence why the UCI guidelines come in. But according to what happened on that day at the Catalunya, clearly Roglič thought it was bad enough for it to be called off, However, the officials didn't seem to agree. What were your thoughts? Of course, it could have been a tactical move, and perhaps he just wasn't feeling great and wanted to use it as an excuse. Comment down below your opinions, subscribe to this channel if it's your first time here, as I post every single day about the latest cycling news, latest cycling drama, and the latest cycling race results, and leave a like on today's video. I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's.